It's good news. Exciting news today. It's the 25th of July 2018, and a national British newspaper called The Independent has just today put up a review of Apostasy, the British JW film dramatisation. Look what it's saying here. Oh, this is such good news. The Jehovah's Witness tale being hailed the best British film in years. Woo! I'm just so happy because it means, so I'm doing a sort of little half dance here. It means that, do you realise how many people are going to see this? And if it's so good, I've still not seen it yet, how they're going to be moved by it, how it's going to cause them to think and to talk, how it's going to cause them to think about relatives or friends who are in there. Well, they won't really have close friends are in there because J-dubs aren't allowed usually. But if they've got relatives, or if they're thinking of studying, someone they love is studying, if they know children involved, they're going to think differently and feel protective, and that's healthy and positive. That doesn't mean that J-dubs get thrown into prison and all this stuff. No, it means that they can be protected properly, and especially children from, because there's so many levels. We talk so much about this out of control cover-up of the child sex abuse, but there's so many different levels of abuse and mind turning. So take heart, please, all of you who are out, do not have their families are in, or you're thinking of going out. Because I think with things like this, as you are leaving in that process, because you've got to build up your support systems before, if you can, before you leave. Okay, be safe with it all. But people outside, hopefully, they're going to understand a little more of what you're going through. There'll be more understanding from doctors, I would hope, if you're depressed. This isn't just, it's very hard sometimes if you're the lone voice, say, to a medical practice, or, you're needing some mental health support, some deprogramming. If you're a lone voice, it's really hard. But if once there's a social and community awareness, you're not that lone voice anymore. People go, I heard this story. Can you tell me your side of it? So it shouldn't be so isolating. And if I go further to the ethos of why this channel was set up, and I go elsewhere because it would be too depressing otherwise. But I would sincerely hope, and I don't see how it cannot, surely it's going to help the suicide rates, to lower them, because you won't be so isolated. There will be people, even more people, because there are already, but even more people that will understand, and perhaps people you need to understand, like teachers, bosses, as I say, doctors. There's all different levels of things. So I would hope that has a knock-on effect, because as people's distress and pain is eased, then the survival rates go up. And then we want you not to survive eventually, not survive, but thrive. And people are thriving. But it will come to you. If you're not yet, no panic. It's not a competition, it's not a race, who gets to the thriving first. So let's have a look. It's like all emotion I go on, don't I? Let's have a look at this article, because I really I want you to share in how positive it is. As always, I'll put a link in the description, and obviously, you don't want to hear me wittering on anymore, just go to the link. I'm hoping they've got a comment section as well, so you can put in comments. Never underestimate the power of putting in a comment under any article that allows it. Please do that. It's so strong. It's so good to do that. You can do it without your real name, of course. Really help. And if there's someone who's defending things and lying a little bit, as really happens, don't have to get into big conflict, the facts are. So here we have Apostasy Review, nuanced insight into the lives of Jehovah's Witnesses. Director, 95 minutes, and the cast. Very good cast, isn't it? Look at that, 4 out of 5 stars. So I don't know. It's Jeffrey McNabb. Thank you, Mr. McNabb, for the review. So have a look down. They've got I think that must be the trailer, which a lot of us put up already. Now then, are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. Daniel Kokotallo's, and I still can't say his name, low-budget drama, Apostasy, gives audiences a revealing and very uncomfortable insight into the lives of Jehovah's Witnesses. It's the story of 3 women in a northern English town, a mother and 2 young adult daughters, whose ties to the group put severe pressure on their relationships with each other. Note that their ties to the group put severe pressure on their relationships with each other. And J-Dubs is so much saying, oh, we bind families together. And many of us, our experiences on, and it's getting worse, is no, you tear them apart. Because a strong family can stand up to misinformation. A strong family can stand up to abuse. A strong family can protect themselves. But if you put cracks in that family, then abuse can be maintained, etc. So we have the younger daughter, Alex, played by Molly Wright, is an anemic who still feels a sense of shame about the fact that she received a blood transfusion as a young child. Now, I don't know what the circumstances, if they were in or out. But if she was a young child, like, she wouldn't have had a lot of say in it, for goodness sake. But shame and guilt, that is something that is nurtured in Watchtower. And again, if you feel shame and guilt, you can be manipulated more easily. Without it, she would have died. Duh. But the religious group to which she belongs regards such treatment as an abuse of the body. I've never heard it told in those terms, abuse. The older daughter, Louisa Sasha Parkinson, is beginning to question the belief system foisted on her when she becomes pregnant after a relationship with a non-witness. She is excluded from the group. Well, we know excluded is a very, it's a big euphemism, isn't it? For like being booted out and never spoken to again, because you're going to die. Goodbye. The mother, Ivana, Siobhan Finneran, the fine actress, is such a firm believer that she's ready to put her faith above her ties with her daughters. I'm sorry, all of you that are going, because you'll be nodding and know that one. There's a picture of her on the left with the daughters, and that's when you get the great title. A former Jehovah's Witness himself, and this is important, Kokotallo tells the story of this anguished family in a pared-down, non-sensationalist fashion. His shooting style, with its simple framing and use of natural light, is close to that of a documentary, where he's filming what is real. It's together samples of different things that really do happen. He is not trying to sneer or make cheap points against the behaviour of the elders. That's important. For every, there'll be J-Dubs against, not allowed to do it, but there will be some looking at this going, hatred. Yeah, we hate your abuse. We hate the abuse that you're being given. We hate the lies that you're being given. But this is from the top. This is from the top. They're looking you in the eye now on camera and lying, and we've provided so much evidence for you. So stop with the hatred thing. Stop with the hatred. And you know what? Those family members, when they're kicked out and shunned, those friends that you have loved as a family member, who looks after them? Who looks after them when they're gone? It is, as you call it, the world. And it's worldly people, as you call them. And that help and support is not done out of hatred for JWs. It's done because of love for the person that you've kicked out. It's done with love. If you stop and listen, really listen, you'll see that. The film still gives it, besides him not trying to be cheap and sneering, the film still gives a devastating portrayal of an inflexible and intolerant organisation. Where's the love? There are a few moments of levity along the way. You'd need that. We see the Jehovah's Witnesses leaving. I thought, what's that? Learning Urdu so they can try to convert the local Pakistani community. Well, that's true, isn't it? The portrayal of a priggish young elder courting Alex has its comic side. Overall, though, this is a very bleak story in which you can't help but feel an immense pity for the mother. So remember, the mother is the one who's staying in and shunning her daughter. So they're not demonizing. He's not demonizing. He's not demonizing the mother who is making that decision. And of course, she becomes a grandmother. Loads of you are in that situation. Loads of people on these channels, the ex-JWs, talk about their grandchildren. Maybe the grandparents have met once, twice, not at all. Or if they've met, then the grandparents have tried to induct those children into the group. So this is such a common experience, and the pain must be awful. I'm just so blessed that I don't have to go through it. But anyone can stop and think, really. It must be a living hell. Hell is, well, a certain religion says hell's when you die, not for when you live. So he talks about the mother. She gives so much for her faith and receives so little in return. Jehovah's Witnesses, we learn, don't believe there is any such thing as a soul. That is for, quote, airy-fairy religions like the Catholics. They don't accept the symbol of the crucifix either. They argue that Jesus died on a simple stake. If you do fall out of favour with the group, the elders will make it very hard for you to win back their trust. In the meantime, they will stop you from seeing your family. Well, they think they can control the leaver's behaviour. How many times do we hear one of the things, you're not allowed to talk to me? No. The ex can talk, but they make it, it's a hugely punishable offence if you talk to a family member, even when you're talking, needing to discuss someone's died, really good things. One can easily imagine the same subject matter being dealt with in a confrontational documentary, similar to ones made about other cults. By tackling the story as a drama, you always win if it's a drama. It's difficult to do, and the fun's very difficult, but you do win. Win, it's like competition, but you win over people. They used to talk with the preaching stuff about winning people's hearts. I think that's what a drama does. Hence, Watchtower doing dramas. Why do Watchtower do dramas? Oh yes, there you go. Coco Talia brings a nuance and emotion to Apostasy that simply wouldn't have been present if he'd taken a more polemical approach. Finneran gives a haunting, deeply affectionate performance as the mother, losing her family and being driven towards solitude because of her beliefs. She's either too dogmatic or too powerless to do anything about it. There you are. One of the best British films in years. Practical, factual, moving. Not demonizing, not cruel. And if we compare it even more with governing body demonizing ex-JWs, saying that they're demon-possessed, mentally ill. How different is that? Why it keeps happening again and again? Why outside Watchtower is more love being shown than inside? People move on from Watchtower in different ways, have no spiritual beliefs whatsoever, have some, which is fair enough. But I've moved away from this punitive jealousy, thunderbolt throwing God. as the love from the highest point comes down, yeah, it gets distorted, it gets transformed into, or twisted into something that's harder, harsher. But the source is just not, it's just not this hatred, and it's certainly not lies. Because if you love someone, can you look at them and lie? I have a lot of trouble understanding lies, which if I'm a big lie would be ridiculous. There's a lie thing going through. Thanks for your time, thanks for me going on. I think this is get more good news to help everyone. And if you're struggling out there, do know things are changing by the day. I mean, you look over a week and a month and a year, the strides are just unimaginable. So keep with it. Thanks for your time. I'm aware that we're on the eve as well of Watchtower Victims Memorial Day, tomorrow, the 26th of July, as it is every year. There are many ways of feeling as if you're a victim, or that you've been harmed by Jehovah's Witnesses. And there may be many, many types of remedies needed. As an oldie lady, when things are happening, oh, it's agony. It's agony. What's the short term? How are you going to keep going on? Even then after that, look at the loss I've had. And you do need to, I think healthily, you do need to look at loss and grieve for it. I've still got more to do. But as you get older, so this sounds such a cliche, you do see things in its bigger scope. Every now and then, I'm not always good at it, I appreciate it, but every now and then, please hold on. Okay, well, love to everyone, and thanks for all that time. Bye.